So hello and welcome to Mixologist, the place on the internet thingy where we eventually have to deal with our hoarding habits. So case in point, this two Zenith VIG carbs that I've got here in front of me, and they are the the result of, I mean, if you ask my wife, she would say hoarding. I prefer to define it as finely curated collection of carbs, some of them very junky, that I managed to amass over the summer of this year, 2023 by the way. And now that we're getting to, like the winter time, now it's time to start working on these carbs and start making them live again, because I mean it's no point having them in boxes all over the workshop. So, and I need to, start getting some income out of them. So I might as well start, having a use for them. So before I start doing the disassembly of these carbs, there is something that a couple of things I want to say about when you're working with this type of carbs. It is quite important to take some steps prior to start disassembling, and those are: number one, you need to take detailed photos of the carbs as they are. Why? Because you need to be able to put them back together the way they were, and as you can see, there are some slight differences between those two. I'm gonna show you now in a minute what those differences are. So photos are your friends. Take pictures of the item in any way you can, and that's gonna help you a lot down the way to make them to repair them. Second, and this comes if you've got like a number punch set like I've got here. So what I did is I went through with this number punch set, and for example this is number 2, so I put 2 2 2 2, and I went throughout the carb marking it as the number 2 carb, even down to the throttle plate that I marked, and the reason for that is because so that I can get all the bits that belong to the same carb in the same place, and I can clean them both at the same time without losing which part goes where. Yeah, so and this is my kind of number 1 carb, so it's marked 1 1 1 1 1 all over the place. Now this is really useful come the time of cleaning and reassembly, if you got all those bits really marked up well. Now I'll show you a little bit closer what we're working with. As you can see probably through the grime, these are Zenith VIG carbs of different vintages, both of them, but essentially they are the same except for some details here on the actuation of the accelerator pump there and there. So that's the reason why I marked them in this way, the kind of the 1 and the 2s, to be able to get them together again. And but apart from that, they're about the same carb. There is a little difference here with the actuator for the choke, but it's minor really. But again, I marked this up so I can have them both together. And apart from that, I think we are ready to start the disassembly process and the cleaning now. So let's get after it, shall we? Okay, as you can see, these are the units, and they actually look worse than what they looked worse on the outside than what they were. Because look at this fuel bowl. This is actually pretty clean inside. I'm amazed actually on how good how clean the fuel bowl is. Obviously, this thing needs. I mean, there's bad stuff on it, and will need a lot of cleaning. But so what I'm going to do now, and obviously the other fuel bowl, the other fuel bowl, yeah, it did have a lot more crud on it, as you can see here. So this was a little bit more damaged, and this is the kind of the other body. So yeah, so look at the level. Look at this. It's disgusting. But anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them an initial clean. So just, you know, water and a strong degreasant, and just, you know, give it a light clean first, then ultrasonic cleaner, and then I'm going to show you what the units look like, you know, after the end of the cleaning process. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to explain the process of how I set up these units in the machine, so that you know how it's done. So step number one is I make sure this is straight, like this, because obviously I'm going to need it to be straight along this axis. Once you have done that, the next step is to install a pilot, which is the same diameter as the shaft, in this case M7. And what you do is ensure that that it is centered with the piece. And the next step is the drilling. So I go from a 7 to a 10 in 1 mil increments. This is quite important because I don't want to kind of force the piece too much. So therefore doing 1, 2, 3 cuts kind of makes sense. Okay, so what I want to explain here is I want to explain what are the strategies I'm using to seal these shafts, and how I go about 3 different ways of basically trying to achieve the same outcome. So when you got a shaft that has too much play between the shaft and the carved body, so you can do a couple of things. In this particular case, what I've done is because it had been repaired before, you can't see it, but there was a sleeve in here. What I've done is I cut a pocket on which an O-ring is going to live, and that is going to act as a sealing agent. Obviously, this is an O-ring. This is an M7 O-ring, which is the right size for this carb. And as you can see, I cut a pocket there for the O-ring, and the actuator for the shaft can go here. So therefore, that is going to create a really good seal for the unit. So that's one way of doing it. The other strategy that I've deployed is quite a tried and tested one, which is put one of these inserts, and that's it. You put the shaft in. Obviously, as you can see here, I've also combined it with the pocket so that I can put an O-ring there. So this is like a combined O-ring and pocket, and this one is kind of a variation on that. And I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but inside there is an O-ring. So this is what I call the captive O-ring. So basically, essentially, it works like this. You have got your shaft, as in here, and you have got an O-ring. So if you were able, you know, to look inside here, you would see something like this. You would see an O-ring. You would see so there was a cut, which an O-ring went in first and then the bushing. So therefore that's why I call it the captive O-ring, because this O-ring is really captive between the aluminium, the original aluminium, and this bronze bushing. So therefore that's the strategy I've deployed here, the strategy of the captive O-ring. And this basically is good enough for what these carbs require, and now it's time to start, putting them back together. Okay, so far what's happening is that my methods appear to be vindicated, in the sense that as you can see, I'm putting together the first of the 30 VIGs, but one of the things that was absolutely instrumental in getting me this far, and I'm going to show you how far I've got. I still got the choke to go, so I'm not finished yet, but we're getting there. And one of the things that have been instrumental is the pictures that I've got of the item when I disassembled it. Why? Because with these pictures I was better able to match the parts to the unit and make sure that I'm building it right. So I'll show you what I've done so far. We've got most of it ready. Obviously I built the fuel bowl, we got accelerator kind of pumpage, so this is good, means it's working. Idle mixture screw, it's already there. So yeah, what I need to do now is I need to finish the choke, but that wouldn't have been possible if I didn't have the pictures of the item and also all the items in the bag. Why? Because also I had a problem with the shaft, that at first I got the shaft wrong. So I had the shaft from another carb, and this here wasn't fitting right. So that's why I had to kind of redo it again with the correct shaft. And this one is the one that has the repair. Remember that I showed you in the previous segment. This has the what I call the O-ring repair, so it just has the O-ring there, but it should be good. I think we're coming to the end of the series on the Zenith VIG. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you kind of the results of it, and I'm also going to give you some tips about what to do, what not to do, or stuff that I found useful anyway. If we get a bit closer here, you can see this one is the VIG7, that this one is actually like the real dealio. This is like the complete builder. You can see the accelerator pump, you can see there. Obviously the shaft has been sealed, and it's got the actuator for the choke there. So this one, it's really golden. This was the unit that really kind of has come back to life completely. This one is a 30 VIG 11. Now this one is nearly complete, except for there is a missing piece here on the linkage, the bolt socket. But apart from that, this has built quite well. You've got your accelerator pump there, that we're gonna call that mint. Obviously new needle and seat assembly, gasket, as you can see also you can't see it here, but the shaft has been sealed on this one as well. So this one came up, I would say, probably 95% complete, but there's more throughout the series. I don't know if you've seen them, but I had more than two. And the reason for this is, so I've got this one. This is another VIG 11, and it has the sealing of the shaft, and now it's there, so it has a sealed shaft. It's got the choke, it's clean. Obviously it's missing the rubber that goes there, so that's not done. But look at the fuel bowl here. This is very clean. The top, this is the float as well. Obviously it requires a gasket there, so it's not fully done yet, and there is still this little box of parts. Same thing with this. Very good fuel bowl in terms of cleanliness. A good float, and same dealio here. We've got a sealed shaft, we've got the throttle plate already installed, and obviously this is not ready, but the needle and seat is ready. And I've got another box of parts here. Again, the choke here, we can show you the choke. It's kind of more or less sort of pre-gamed-ish, and some other parts here. So the reason I've done them all like this is that I wanted to work with all carbs of the same type, even though I am not going to get them to all of them become complete builders. In fact, I've done only one, 95% of another one, and about 60-ish% of the other two. But what happens, this is part of my kind of philosophy of work, that when I do work on a sort of carb, what I want to do is I want to make sure that I've got all the other parts kind of pre-gamed, semi-rebuilt, and I can either sell them as they are, so sell them with a description of, you know, this part is like ready to go, you just need to, you know, slot it in and away you go. This one certainly with the shaft in the way it is, this body like this would be a good builder for somebody that's looking for a project, or that has a one with a leaky shaft here, and therefore you just slot this one in, got it good, and away you go. So that's the reason why I do these things, even though it might be more work than just doing the two. At least I've got in here a good base to work on. And even if a customer sends me one to do, I mean, I have a lot of parts here like pre-gamed that I can just slot in, and they're going to be clean and it's going to be good. So it does have some advantages to work this way, even though it's a bit more work. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. This is like week 1 in the Zenith weeks. Next week we're going to do another model, and before that I just want to say 2 things that really helped me. Number 1 is kind of the exploded view of the carbs, very important, and actually proved invaluable when I was building them. So if you got one of these, always keep it in mind, keep it handy. And B, also the photographs. You've seen me in the episode with my computer with the photographs, make it big, because I was thinking whether I was building this incorrectly, but no, I was building it right. It's just that it didn't come with the part with the lever for the linkage. So it's not that I had lost it or anything, it just wasn't there, and I could see it from pictures that when I took it out of the box. So therefore, those are my 2 tips. Take lots of pictures when you get the items, and if you get manuals and exploded views, they're winners. So I want to say genuinely thank you very much for watching, if you're watching it this far, and I'll see you next week for more Zenith Carb stuff.